This is Michael Wilton of Queensryche, and you're listening to Southeast Rec Metal.
Well, we're here at the Tuska Festival with Michael Wilton. Nice to meet you again, and welcome to Finland once again.
Yeah, it's great to be here. You know, it's we just came from Sweden, and this looks like it's going to be a great festival tonight.
Hey, first of all, we met the guys from Japan on Friday, Loudness. Oh, and they asked us to deliver some greetings to you, and for especially Todd, their singer Minoru, asked us to tell those greetings, so we pass it on and you handle it through.
Yeah, I mean, we love Loudness, and in the U.S., the Monsters of Rock cruise, they were there, and we got to hang out with them. They're a great bunch of guys.
Yeah, they actually mentioned about that cruise, so that's when we talked about it, and I was telling them that we're going to meet you guys today, so that's when he told us. But all right, my job is done with that. But hey, 40 years from about that when you recorded and released the album Rage for Order. What do you think about the album now when it's 40 years old? Does it stand time, and do you still think it's one of your best albums you ever made?
I think it stands the test of time. Touring, you know, I talk to fans, and a lot of them say that's their favorite album. And, you know, one thing that Queensryche did in the early days, we made a conscious effort of making each album like 180 degrees different than the other one. So from the Warning, you know, we did something that was more Rage for Order, right? You know, that style. And then from that, you know, we did something 180 degrees different. We did a conceptual album called Operation Mindcrime. And then from that, we did something completely different and went more song-oriented album and Empire, you know. So, and so that's in itself, each album, because it's so different than the previous album, you have pockets of fans that you know, jumped on the bandwagon, you know, at Empire, or jumped on at the EP or the Warning or Rage for Order. But you know, a lot of people really like just, you know, the creative element and the cutting edge of Rage for Order, and it's, you know, those songs were built for an album, you know, with headphones, but they were also built to tour on, you know, to make sure that they sounded cool when we were playing them live. And, you know, 40 years later, we're still doing it.
And that's true. That's true. The songs sound pretty cool still when you're doing it live. Well, that's about it. And probably we hear a few songs from that particular album today.
Oh yeah, there's always a few Rage for Order tunes. You know, with festivals, you're kind of limited in time because there's so many bands. So we're going to put as many songs in 1 hour as we can, and it's going to be awesome.
That's good to hear. Well, let's talk about this particular moment and last album you did a few years ago. But do you have now plans, or have you done something for the next studio album? You know, like, you know, demos or pre-recording stuff, or, you know, new songs?
Yeah, you know, in between our rigorous touring, you know, we're finding pockets of time to write the next album, and that's what we've been doing, you know, and we've been working with the same producer, Zeus.
Yeah.
And you know, we've crafted about 15 songs, and they're badass, you know, but they're not finished. They're still like in, you know, demo. Yeah. And we have a very busy schedule right now, and then July is going to be very busy. So there may be like in August, September, we can concentrate on the album and make some headway on it. But as far as like when it will be finished, your guess is as good as mine. It's something could happen really quick, or it's something that maybe next year it'll be ready. So either way, you know, I'm really excited about it, and the music that's been created is pretty killer.
All right, we'll wait for that then and see what's going to happen and when you get it out. One more question about albums is that have you ever thought doing a live album with this current lineup with Todd as a singer? Because you have a bunch of great albums with him and there's great songs. And I was, thinking about this because, the old songs are good, new songs are good, so have you thought about releasing a live album?
Yeah, it's something that has crossed our minds, and we have a lot of material, So I think it depends kind of on the record company, what they consider a release and that kind of thing. So I think maybe in the future, definitely. It'd be great to do a live album, DVD, whatever, of Todd era Queensryche.
Yeah. Well, we see what's going to happen, but that's nice to hear that you've been thinking about it.
Yes.
Yeah. So last year you were here doing the tour. Now you're again in Europe. Again this year doing festivals, and you have your own shows in UK. So, are you planning to do tours in Europe more often, like nowadays?
Yeah, I think we're going to be coming back in December. We have like 2 weeks of festivals and touring, so I think it's great that we can come back to Europe and the UK and spend more time here rather than the USA. So. But yeah, it's fun being over here. It's great. The fans are so loyal, and we're having a blast.
Because there was a time when you didn't come to Europe, was it 2 or 3 or probably 4 years that you stayed off from here? So that was a long period.
Right, and it's as this version of Queensryche, started, we had to kind of build the communication with the people that run the festivals and all the promoters and the booking agents, and that's taken some time. But I think we're on the right path right now, and we're rebuilding our relations in South America. We've been down there. Now it's just just keep promoting ourselves over here, and I think people will enjoy seeing Queensryche every year or every other year and at their festivals.
Yeah, I think nowadays the best way to promote your band is to do gigs, because everyone knows that albums, although bands do record albums and release them, they are not selling as much as they used to do, like in 80s or 90s.
Exactly. So a lot of bands sell their albums at their merch booths. That's how they make their money. So, but it's with social media, and it's so ever changing and evolving. And you and I, we talk and we say the next album, but the kids today don't. They say the next single. So a lot of bands are just recording singles and then releasing them when they want. It's different. It's a different model now.
And it's a different type of releasing it, because the bands are releasing it at Spotify and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's. I think there's a movement where bands want to have a better deal than the record companies. So I think that's kind of a movement that's starting to happen. I don't know how it's going to be done, but somebody will think about it.
Yeah, let's leave that to someone else. Yeah. Well, you've toured some great festivals this year in Europe. What do you think about what are the differences between huge US festivals and these metal festivals in Europe that you've been?
Oh my gosh, I mean, the festivals here are just put together and organized so much better, and like Hellfest. I mean, there was like 80,000 people there. It's like it looked like a vast ocean of people. But you know, all the amenities, you know, to make it an experience, all the merch booths and the crazy statues and all that kind of stuff. It's all you know, part of the hype and everything, and I love it. I think it's so much fun.
Yeah, that's true. Hellfest is probably biggest metal festival in Europe. So, and I noticed you were playing there. Well, and that's a crazy thing because you can't see the back row from the stage.
Right, it just goes on forever.
Okay, one more. We're gonna put you in a test. We put some guitar players, and you pick up one, and the one you pick stays, and then I give you a new name versus that. Okay.
I'm horrible at this.
Okay, Jeff Beck or Rich Blackmore?
Jeff Beck.
Jeff Beck or Adrian Smith?
Jeff Beck.
Jeff Beck or Michael Wilton?
Jeff Beck.
Jeff Beck or Chris DeCarmo?
Jeff Beck.
Okay, last one. Jeff Beck or Jimi Hendrix?
Ooh, Jimi Hendrix.
All right, we go with Jimi Hendrix. Thanks for the interview, Michael. It was nice to see you again.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.